Hey everyone, this is Cheshire from Cheshire Plays Games, and today I've got a very special deck tech for you. This is the deck that I used during my previous stream. Thanks to Magic the Gathering for letting us do that. That was the 24-hour stream with 100 streamers, which was crazy for MTG Arena. Now this is the deck I've been jamming for the last couple of weeks, testing out, because it reminds me of the old Taking Turns Awaken deck, which is currently still in Modern, but obviously not in Standard at the moment until now. So this deck isn't on anyone's radar. Anyway, straight into the deck tech, see you on the other side. When Nexus of Fate was first spoiled as the buy a box promo, a lot of players and MTG finance people were rightly apprehensive at the power level that the card would likely produce. I saw this as a way that I could try and leverage a really cool deck that harkens back to the now modern format version of Awaken Taking Turns. But seeing as we don't really have Awaken, well, what's the next best way that we can actually make an extra turns kills deck? So behold, this is Taking Turns. How it kills. Lands kill during combo off stage. Now what this means is you're getting free turns out of your Khan's Temporal Sunderings and your Nexus of Fate. You're playing Sylvan Awakening. Now we're only playing one copy because we don't want to draw multiples in the early game at all. We want this to be a surprise to our opponent if we get to play it. And it's not even really the main kill. It's just something awesome that we can do. So this is a 3-mana sorcery that makes all of your adorable little lands into fierce 2/2 haste beat sticks. Alright, so next up is Multani Yavimai's Avatar. Now we're playing 2 of these because it is a legendary creature, Elemental Avatar. For 4 generic mana and 2 green mana, we get an XX Reach Trample creature that reads, each land that you have in play and each land in your discard pile gives Multani XX. Multani kills by sheer mass of lands in this particular deck. This is a ramp combo deck and it is so much fun. So this makes for a fearsome and often one-turn kill. Not only that, for 1 generic mana and 1 green mana, you may take 2 lands in play that you own back to your hand, and then return Multani from your discard pile back to your hand. Now, this means that your opponent can waste counter spells on him all day long, and you can just keep replaying that Multani back to the field. Important card rules. Mana acceleration. So we have 3 thematic compass because they allow you to tutor for basic land. With our 3 Wayward Sword Tooth, this allows you to play an extra land on each of your turns, meaning that extra land that you draw is usually not redundant. At 3 mana and 4 copies, you have the excellent Spring to Mind, a split card that allows you to fix your lands and search out basic land to place into play tapped. Next we have 4 copies of Hour of Promise. Not only does it help accelerate your mana, it should also net you usually 2 zombie tokens. That's 2/2 zombie tokens. So if you've got those beautiful foil ones from, what was it, Shadows over Innistrad? Might want to dig those out from somewhere. Or you know what? Go and buy some from some of the MTG artists online because there are so many great ones. So you can use these for your chump blocking, just chucking it in the way of things that you just want to block so you're not taking any damage. You should never block with your Rashmi Eternity's Crafter or your Tatiova Benthic Druid unless it's absolutely necessary. Not only does Hour of Promise fuel Tatiova Benthic Druid to draw extra cards and replenish your life that you've lost from the early game, the additional lands also increase the ever-growing size of Multani Yavimai's Avatar. Next, card advantage. With every great deck, there is a way to get ahead on the number of cards you see versus the number of answers your opponents see. Spring to Mind, or at least the mind side, is going to sit around in your graveyard for a while. But for 2 blue and 4 generic mana, you can play this as an instant. It pairs extremely well with Rashmi Eternity's Crafter to provide overwhelming advantage, and draw 2 cards off the card itself. And then, of course, triggering Rashmi, there's all sorts of great shenanigans that can go on. Next up is Rivers Rebuke. We are playing 2 copies of this. It provides a great clutch play to sweep out all of your opponent's non-land permanents so we can force through maximum damage or bounce some troublesome permanents such as Cast Out that was likely played on a creature of yours earlier in the game. Hey Dominaria, wanna see my time machine? Khan's Temporal Sundering looks like one of the hardest cards to play in this deck, but actually it's pretty easy for this deck to play. For 4 generic and 2 blue, it's a sorcery that reads, if you have a legendary creature or planeswalker, target player takes an extra turn after this one. You may return a non-land permanent to a player's hand. We have multiple permanents that allow us to use this expensive extra turn giver, and it even helps us push our damage through due to its ability to bounce a non-land permanent. That's pure value. Sadly though, it exiles itself. But at least we're playing 4 copies, so we should be able to do it a couple of times at least. What doesn't exile itself? Well, the card that made this entire deck thing. Our 2 copies of Nexus of Fate. That's right, the buy box promo that everyone thought would be way broken, and look, to be honest, it's not broken, but it's very, very good. In fact, when it hits the discard pile, you shuffle it back into your deck. This means that it also has unintentional value of making it so you can never be milled out. Did I mention this is cast as an instant? This is just gross. At least it carries a hefty price tag at 5 generic and 2 blue mana. On to the pros of this deck. This is a very fun deck and can be extremely rewarding when you take extra turns and row after row after row and then kill your opponent with one fantastically massive Multani. Also, this deck is currently not on anyone's radar, even though it really should be. This is likely due to the amount of red-black aggro decks that we're seeing currently at high-level tournaments. Again, going back to the mill side, no one can actually mill you out ever. Ever? Did I say ever? I'm pretty sure I said ever. I said ever? Okay, great. They can't mill you out. They just can't do it. It's fantastic. Nexus goes into your discard pile, straight back into your deck. The cons. So this deck can be an extremely slow deck to actually start. It'll make you panic every time, so you really have to have a cool head to play this deck. Sometimes you're just going to whiff and you're going to die, because that is the nature of a combo deck. This deck can also stall out in the early game, leading to being defeated by aggro decks, so that is something that needs to be addressed. With some tweaking, I'm sure that we can shore up that matchup just a little bit better. You also need to learn this deck and the line of plays to understand certain matchups. A particular Rivers Rebuke used at the right time against a control deck will make all the difference between winning and losing. Well, that's it from me today. So I hope you've enjoyed this deck tech. I'll do more of it if you do. Please leave a comment down below, hit that like button, hit that share button. Why not go and subscribe to me? If you would make any changes to this deck, some perhaps tweaks to make it kind of shore up a bit more against the aggro decks, why don't you post that down below and let me know. And thanks PureMTGO for hosting this article. Go and check out all of my stuff at puremtgo.com, along with a whole bunch of other writers and content creators where you can find all of the MTG articles you might want to read. I am Cheshire. Keep cracking packs, not for value, but for draft.